Am I a hair loss expert? Of course not. I hope I've been clear enough about that. I am not a hair loss expert. What I am is I am the #1 YouTuber who specializes in helping people overcome their hair loss from a psychological perspective. I'll accept that title because that is true. No one is close to me as far as the number of videos and then engagement in videos when it comes to overcoming hair loss psychologically. I'm the #1 person for that. And because of that, I'm also therefore a mentor, which I'm very proud to accept that title as mentor. Expert, hair loss? No, I'm a mentor. And it's funny because when like in real life, and like yesterday somebody found out I have a YouTube channel and they said, oh, what's it about? And I said, well, I mentor younger men. I help them, build their confidence and get a better sense of their own identity. They're like, oh yeah, that's cool. I don't say, well, ultimately it's under the whole storefront of hair loss and that's what gets them in the door. I don't say that part because ultimately to me the hair loss, this could have just in an alternate universe, this could have been a video, a series, or it could have been a channel. This could be a channel about height, guys that think that they're too short, and that could have been the whole premise of this channel. And I tried that actually in the beginning, but that wasn't popular. The hair loss thing was, and I thought if that's how I can serve others, then that's what I'm going to do. Now, here's what the video is actually about. I want to remind you all that ultimately my teachings, my psychology, which my college degree is English, not psychology, but experimenting with psychology is probably a hobby of mine, and that's probably because of these videos. I'm able to have these exercises that are psychological with people. But what I want to remind you all of is these viewpoints that I give you are ultimately, undeniably founded in a Christian mindset, from a Christian background. And so I already want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to even talk to you, because I recognize, and I assume most of you are not Christian. I assume most of you would fall in the category of agnostic, atheist. Some are Jewish. Definitely a lot of people who are Muslim who watch my channel. And I think that's awesome. I celebrate everyone who's here, whatever you believe, whatever your background, because you're allowing a Christian into your life, on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis. And thank you for letting me speak to you about these things, because undeniably you can't take the Christianity out of my teachings. And you're like, wait, hold up. When do you talk about Christian teachings? You talk about hair loss and buzz cuts and okay. Well, my whole thing about, one of the things I always talk about is how if you're the kind of person who is easily offended by what someone says to you, if another person can offend you, hurt your feelings, if you give other people emotional control over you, then you're more likely to be bothered and insecure about hair loss. But if you're the kind of person who recognizes that you have the control of your own emotions and not to give that to other people, then you're going to be the person who hair loss doesn't bother as much. But for me, everything about what I just said goes back to biblical teachings as far as all that goes, and not holding ourselves to think, but you can't say that to me, I'm a good person, because Christianity teaches that we're not good people. Christianity teaches that we're all born with a sinful nature, and we all are born with instincts that lead us to basically destruction in some way. And each one has their own, what I'm going to call sin personality. So for example, you all know I've never looked at pornography, ever. I've had no interest in it. So therefore that's not one of my things. But I could tell you 10 other things that easily I do struggle with and always will, because it's a matter of not judging other people's sins, but instead looking at our own, because when people look at other people's sins, they do that. Why? Because it's pride, which is one of the biggest sins the Bible talks about. When you're a prideful person, you don't want to believe that you're not so perfect. So it's easy to say, well, look what they do. And then but I am not a good person. I am a sinner. We were all born this way. We were all born this way with these instincts. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about pornography, because if you're going to hear anybody talk about pornography as far as saying it's a destructive thing, it's probably going to be someone who has a channel about nofap, which that's not me. I'm not part of this nofap camp. That's not my thing. If that's your thing, cool. But my whole thing is, when it comes to pornography, strip away the religion, strip away the morality. Psychologically, that's messing guys up. And, you know, most of you are in your teens and 20s. So you've had more exposure to pornography than any other generation. And knowing that that has a psychological effect on how your own confidence level and how you see females and your own expectations, it's got to be harder for you if you're regularly looking at pornography. And also from a Christian perspective, I would even say this, and this is a hard one to grasp, and it's going to make us all feel awful, but I'm going to say it. What I believe is that in some sense that actually pornography has an overlap with rape. I do definitely believe that, because a man who would rape a woman, it's not simply physical desire that he does that, because men all have strong desires in that way, but not all men would rape a woman. But it comes down to a man who would rape a woman obviously has no sense of control over his own life, and he's so desperate, not for his physical desires, but to have some sort of control over another person, because he has no control over himself. And so what I just said, though, it could easily translate to, I was just talking about porn. This man has such a lack of control over his own life and his own identity that, well, at least I can watch this video or look at this magazine. To me, there's definitely an overlap between pornography and rape. And what I just said is probably pretty unpopular, but I think it needs to be said. I think you need to be challenged in my videos. I definitely think that people are not acknowledging the effect of pornography on people's self-esteem. They're not. And if they do, they want to make it all about nofap, or they want to make it all about religion. And I'm the guy saying, that's cool, but I care about you psychologically. I think this is a big deal. So just there, I know that seemed like a rabbit trail, but I'm actually saying those things to prove what I'm saying. And that is, as long as you keep watching my videos, even if I never explicitly point it out, you're being mentored from an older guy who is a Christian and is thinking about things from that perspective on ways to serve you and to help you. Because Christianity teaches that we are to love our neighbors as ourselves and serve other people. It's not about me, it's about everybody else. And that's why I always say, quit wasting your time letting other people emotionally control you. Because what is that? That's pride. That's one of the sins the Bible talks about so often, is if you think that you're that great, I'm a good person, I don't deserve to be treated this way, they can't say that to me. That's so rude. That's offensive. But that's actually a revelation of one's pride, because you strip that away and you think, okay, let them say whatever they want to. It's not going to hurt my feelings. It's not going to offend me. I don't give them control over my emotions. I'm going to be strong and control myself. And by making that decision, and it is a decision, and see, a lot of people forget that they actually get to decide whether something emotionally bothers them or not. A lot of people don't keep that in mind. But when you do that, when you make the decision not to let other people emotionally control you, what you're doing is you're being selfless and not selfish, right? And by doing that, you're better able to serve and help other people. I'll close on this note. If I didn't believe what I just said, would I be able to help any of you? I don't think so. I think the foundation of my mentorship program that this YouTube channel is the fact that what I just said about being humble enough to not be offended by other people, and therefore in turn, the bonus prize with that is you become a more confident person who knows who you are. And when you are those things, you're not letting hair loss bother you. So again, I thank you for being here. I remind you that ultimately, I'm like a Christian camp counselor is really what I am. And you're allowing me into your life every day. Thanks for letting me be here.